I'm not going to address at all the previous administrations. The previous administration had people in it that were as committed to the values that they held very high. But the dedication to civil liberties, dedication to the rule of law, dedication to making sure that we're not going to overreact, that we're going to do things because it's the right thing to do. And I think anybody who's watched what's happened in Washington over the last year recognize that, this administration has its political detractors. And, politics, can be a rather tough environment, and that's why I've tried to stay away from it. But the president has said to me and to others, good policy ultimately will give you good politics. Don't let the politics drive you. Let the good policy drive you. Do what is right, and hopefully then the politics will follow, and the American people will understand exactly why. So I feel that this administration, this president, is really trying to do the right thing, but in very choppy waters. Choppy, I'm not just talking about the political environment, but they are choppy, but the international environment. We have countries that are aspiring for nuclear weapons. We have countries that continue to suppress and repress their people. We have countries that are led by individuals who are corrupt. We have continued problems of not dedicating the resources necessary to give people the opportunity to educate themselves, become literate, and to be part of their society and the world economy. These are really tough challenges. I'm just thankful that we have people who still want to be president of the United States. A couple more, right here. Someone's coming. Then we'll do the person behind you, and then we'll pick one more for the last bank shot.
Thank you so much. My name is Kathy Joshi, and I'm an associate professor. I teach in the School of Education at Fairleigh Dickinson University, your old stomping grounds.
FDU, right.
FDU
yes.
in Bergen County. And, this gentleman spoke so eloquently about essentially how religion is racialized. People see brown folks, and they don't know the difference between Sikhism, Hinduism, Islam. And I know the teachers I teach and that I've been working with for the past 10 years, and many of them are frightened to talk about religion in schools. And while we have the First Amendment, and while we have justices who've said we need to have religion taught about in schools, I'm wondering if in these days, especially after 9/11, if the Department of Homeland Security could be a little more proactive perhaps. Are they, and maybe we just don't know it, working with the Department of Education and thinking a little more about being upstream, as you were talking about, and encouraging teachers from at the federal level to really think about religion, different cultures, because right now there's no real emphasis on that because of testing and evaluation and measurement and things of that nature. And we know that the education piece will really help.
I agree with you, and the White House has been trying to orchestrate over the past several months an interagency effort that can address this issue of education and how it's going to be furthered and implemented, because we don't want to have, again, the counterterrorism folks who are running that. It really has to be part and parcel of an education process that tries to take that into account and allows people to have that exposure and understanding of different cultures and relations. Although it may seem like this administration has been in place forever, it's only 13 months. And although that may sound like a long time, sometimes the Washington bureaucracy takes a little bit of time to sort of get going. But I have seen some tangible progress over the past couple of months to try to bring those elements together with the Department of Homeland Security, Department of Education, and others. So that's the direction they're going. It has to be part of that education process and not appended to it by that counterterrorism law enforcement community. Yes, sir. Sorry I didn't get you before.
My name is Javed Tariq. I'm with the New York Taxi Workers Alliance. We are organizing the New York cab drivers. The thing is, in New York City, there are more than 100,000 cab drivers, and there are 75% are Muslims, especially from Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and North Africa, and Arab countries. Even though in 911, New York cab drivers played a great role to help public, bringing injured people to the hospital free, and all day long they were helping the public. we face a new kind of racism after 9/11, and right after that, a lot of cabs got vandalized, and Muslim cab drivers, even though our Sikh cab drivers who has beards and turbans for a wrong identity, they got beaten, and still we are facing daily basis harassment and by the public when they see our name written on our license. So we are taking precaution and also fighting on local base with the regulator agencies that they should not put our name on our hack license, even though we have our number is enough. And the second thing, for this harassment and this assault, we are fighting in a state base to pass legislation that harassment against cab driver should be a felony. And I think that if we take this kind of precautions all over in America, because everywhere in America, there are thousands of cab drivers, and most of the cab drivers are 75% are Muslim, are facing this kind of harassment, right. And that can prevent this kind of racism.
Right. You know, as you were talking, I was just thinking, throughout the world, I don't think there's not a single country where similar types of prejudice and discrimination and harassment take place. You know, look in, you know, South Asia between, you know, Hindu and Muslim communities. You know, Southeast Asia and Indonesia between, you know, Christian and Muslim communities, or in the Balkans between different types of ethnic groups and nationalities. It is endemic to the world that you're going to have environments and situations where some people just are naturally prejudiced. What I find, though, also interesting is that people here are particularly outraged because that type of harassment and prejudice is so inconsistent with what this country stands for. Our expectations are so high. People, when they come to the United States to live, to visit, to work, they have this image of the United States as being this great, powerful country where all these other problems that we had to leave our home countries and flee, they're not going to be here. Well, we've brought from all those countries, those people, we've brought a lot of those prejudice and discriminations and history and baggage here to this country. We'd like to think that the environment here is going to melt us within this pot so that we can live next to one another. And we want to keep our expectations high. We want to always be frustrated and annoyed with these things because they are inconsistent with that document that anchors us as a people, where it says all men and women are created equal. It's going to take us a while to get there. It really will. And you know, it's not going to be in my lifetime. It's not going to be in my children's or grandchildren's lifetime. But if we continue to work and every day and push this, I think we can make progress. And we're making progress on a daily basis. But sometimes we can't measure it on a day. But let's take a step back and say, wow, we've come a long way. Let me go back there. I'm going to have to, I'm sorry, I'm exceeding my welcome here, but I could do this all day. It's really, in some respects, very good to be out of Washington.
Well, thank you so much for being here. My name is Asad Akhtar. I'm actually a staffer on Capitol Hill and president of the Congressional Muslim Staff Association. The question I have for you is a little bit outside of your direct purview, but I hope you can address it. Dealing with the Department of Justice and others, you know, you talk about the media and labels. There's a label put on many Muslim organizations that address it, and it's that of unindicted co-conspirator. It's the title that for those who know legally means nothing as far as any terrorism-related charges or even suspicion of terrorism, but is a label that allows media, both legitimate and less legitimate, to smear the community and to smear organizations and not allow organizations to take hold. Similar issue with, you talked about Muslim charities with the Department of Treasury, as far as Muslim charities and the inability for the community to really donate with confidence. The president addressed this in Cairo, I believe, and is taking steps, but it's still an issue. And the reason I just find it so critical is because you're here and asking the community here to be empowered, to step up, and we want to be empowered and we want to step up. But quite honestly, we're not able to be empowered because at the same time we're being disempowered by these labels from the government, which I would hope that the Obama administration would take a strong